Hello there. I'm Scotty, you're not. Welcome back to the penultimate episode of Dis-Cember 2025. And we are talking about Inspector Gadget. Hee hee. I lost the beat. I threw off my groove. Yes, Inspector Gadget movie coming out in 1999, starring Matthew Broderick, Jolie Fisher, Rupert Everett, Dabney Coleman, that guy from Friends who was their superintendent, the building supervisor, or whatever it was, Trieger. Laziness. Andy Dick, for some reason, and Michelle Trachtenberg, rest in peace. Yes, yes, and this was a childhood favorite of mine. Watched it. I had the VHS. Watched it all the time, and watching it now, few things have come to my attention. First and foremost, I realized while watching this might get me killed, but I feel like Matthew Broderick was miscast. Now, I'm not going to cover the sequel, but I do want to touch on that a little bit at the end. But I will say they recast Broderick with French Stewart, and I think he did a better job at it. Broderick doesn't know how to emote. Even that one scene goes, no! It just, I don't know. There are many times he's going, oh. I'm just like, what are these facial expressions that he's doing? It just, it doesn't work for me. I like Rupert Everett is Claw. He's not Claw. Because, when you adapt TV shows, you don't want to adapt them correctly. That would be ridiculous. So let's change a bunch of shit. Let's give Gadget a real name. John Brown. Gee. Had to search hard for that name, huh? It's like they spent all the time searching for a real name for Claw. Sanford Scolex. Now that feels like it took time. They went, I got it. Dr. Claw's real name is Sanford Scolex. What about Gadget? John, Brown. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. This movie did not sit well with me this time. There are parts that just, I don't know, like with My Favorite Martian, where it's just like, why are we doing this? I understand one point, but then there's another thing, right? That's confusing. Well, we start with Matthew Broderick playing John Brown in a dream sequence. It's obviously a dream sequence because he's saving the day. And it's one of those dream sequences where he gets kissed by a woman, and it turns out it's the dog, and it's Brain. Did Brain talk in the cartoon? Because I don't remember him asking talking. I'm saying that because I was watching the Sanjika episode, and he goes, Brain doesn't talk, let's move on. I'm like, did he talk in the cartoon, or was it just sound effects? Spoiler alert, he does talk in the credits, and he's voiced by Don Adams, the original voice of Inspector Gadget, which, by the way, I did grow up watching in reruns. Whether it was on Nickelodeon or in syndication. Yeah. And I will point this out. No, Inspector Gadget is not an original Nickelodeon cartoon. I know you might have watched it on there. Same thing, people say Beetlejuice. Neither of them, they were both aired in syndication first. Actually, Beetlejuice was on Fox Kids for a while there. No. I'm just saying, you may have watched them. They had other syndicated programming too that they aired on there. Animaniacs was on both Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon at different times. Tiny Toons, same thing. I don't know, maybe Tiny Toons wasn't on. They had the Looney Tunes on Nick at Night, because at that point it was like the Looney Tunes were too violent. But then Cartoon Network just aired the Looney Tunes whatever by the time we got to the mid-90s. So he saved the day in his dream. He wakes up and it's like, oh... And this is the point. This is the acting you're going to get. When he wakes up and finds out a doll's looking in his face, you get, oh, brain. That's a reaction, apparently. I'm sorry, but if I woke up, if I'm in a dream thinking I'm making out with a gorgeous woman, and I wake up to a dog, my response would not be, oh, brain. It would be, ah! There's no, that's what I'm saying. There's no, oh, brain. That's not a response. But yes, and this was also in an era when everything had to have an origin story. You know, this is pre-Spider-Man. But everything had an origin story, even though Blade didn't have an origin story. It came out a year before this. I mean, there was an origin of why he was, but it wasn't the focus of the movie like this one. So he's not a cop, he's a security guard working for Bradford Industries, where we meet Brandon Bradford. Yeah. And her father, Quark. Yeah, it's Quark from Star Trek. Renee Auberjonois, or whatever you say. Am I right about that, Quark? If I'm wrong, the Trekkies are gonna kill me. By the way, I am also a Trekkie. I'm not big past the original series, and wasn't he on DS9? I'm gonna get shot by Trekkies. They're gonna use their phasers on me. It's Quark, right? Odo. Who the fuck is Quark? Odo on Deep Space Nine. Who the is Quark? Hold on. No, there's a Quark, right? Quark. Hold on. Do this. Odo. Who is Quark? Star Trek. There is a Quark in Star Trek. Oh! That's, okay. Right show, wrong character. Quark is, Armin Zimmerman from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Okay. I had the wrong character. My apologies to all Trekkies. Please do not kill me. He was Odo. So it's Odo. It's Renee Auberjonois. Auberjonois. The chef from Little Mermaid. And yes, that is true. And they're trying to make a robotic foot move. But they can't do it. They try to use brain power and they can't do it. And she goes to do something. And he starts and making the foot move. She comes back just in time to see it move. And then he can't do it again. And then she's like, what were you thinking of? And he goes, how much you look like your mother? So apparently it's about heart. Heart! I'll have a ring. It's about heart! And, so they were. Apparently this movement is enough for Skolex to move forward and kill Odo and take the foot. Brown, then in hot pursuit with his hatchback, they even make a reference to that, being chased by the hatchback squad. And it feels like they were trying to keep Solex's face obstructed by shadows, but then in this chase scene, you just see it. And then it just show it afterwards. I don't know what they were trying to do. And in this scene, we see after a Yahoo sign crash lands on Solex's limousine, it's even into his, "You there under the Yahoo sign, you are under arrest." You're not a cop. You can't arrest. Citizen's arrest, I guess, but still. He throws out a cigar bomb, and we get clever, witty dialogue. "May I have you a cigar?" "No, thank you." "Smoking kills her." "I don't smoke." Thing blows up, which causes a bowling ball to fly out of the hatchback and land on Skolex's hand. Why does he have a bowling ball in his hatchback? These are questions I ask in the middle of the night when I wake up and can't get back to sleep. No, that's a lie. I never asked myself that question, but I wonder right now. I'm probably going to do it tonight. I'll wake up in the middle of the night thinking, why is there a bowling ball in his car? Why? Why did he drive around with that in his car? And that is our origin for Dr. Claw. The next time we see him, he has a claw, which is not a robotic hand, but an actual metal claw. In the cartoon, it was a hand, and he was just called Claw. And to save you from asking this question, no, there is no Mad at all, and he has no cat. Also, at least I don't remember a cat. He does have Sykes, who Wikipedia would have you believe is not from the cartoon, but he is. He just doesn't talk. It's one of the henchmen in the cartoon that doesn't talk. That's Sykes. There's a clever gag with him at the end of the movie. We'll get to it. But yeah. And John Brown is now dead, but Brenda's like, no, he's perfect for the Gadget project. And I'm like, and you thinking, really? Or is there just no one else to use it on? Right? But, okay, so Gadget. He's the new Gadget. And so in the cartoon, Gadget is portrayed as a goof. But with Broderick's acting, I don't know what he's trying to do. Also, I don't think they know how the miscommunication of the gadgets are supposed to work. Because at one point in the training, he goes, "Go Gadget, oil slick." And out comes toothpaste. And that's a gag. It was in the trailers. It was in the movie Surfers thing. It was all over the place. It was all over clips, everything in Disney Channel back then. But I'm watching this time, and I'm like, okay, Gadget's inability to make things work right was like, it was a quirk. It was a quirk, and it works for the cartoon. Here, it doesn't make any sense when you add the context that this genius woman had put all this stuff into him with this super powerful, oh my gosh, super powerful chip. That he could say something like, go Gadget, oil slick, and get toothpaste. Why? Also, the toothpaste should be in one of his fingers, not a cannon that fires out. And I know you're saying, oh, it's for the funnies, for the ha-has, for the laughs. But it still could have just been an oil slick and covered her. Why did it have to be toothpaste? These are questions I ask in the middle of the night. Again, why was it toothpaste? Why couldn't it just be an oil slick? Because it's blue? I don't know. Meanwhile, Skolak still wants... He has a chip with the foot, and is going to create his own version of Gadget called Robo-Gadget. Also, the police chief, Dabney Coleman, rest in peace, has this big, sophisticated robot man and decides, I'm just going to make him save cats. Why? Like, he's like, I don't like you. The Gadget him or the Matthew Broderick him? Because I can see the Matthew Broderick part. Have you seen Deck the Halls? Stay tuned, by the way. Well, by now, it's probably already out. But, so that's a reference to a review I haven't done yet, and we haven't watched yet, but I've seen this other Kirk's review. Deck the Halls. Matthew Broderick is not always the best actor. His best performance will always be Ferris Bueller. And his best line will always be, that's a lot of fish. But I'm just saying, which one is he talking about? Like, why? Oh, there's also a scene where they're dancing, and there's a thing. That looks suave and sophisticated, until Skrillex ruins it. There's also a running gag that he used to be fat. I don't know how that plays into the plot whatsoever. He's like, I was obese. He has a magazine that shows the fat version of him, which means they actually paid money for a fat suit to take that picture. Or Photoshop. I don't know. And there's no real point to it. It doesn't add anything to the plot. So, Skrillex, no, I'm not calling him Claw. Skrillex sends out Robo-Gadget to cause havoc and make them think that the real Gadget has gone insane. But, much like this said fat suit, this has no bearing on the plot because not at any point does anyone try to arrest the real Gadget or go after him or the chief do something. Nothing. There's no point. These are things I think about at night. No, I don't understand. Usually something like this would be a frame job and Gadget would be put in. No, it never happens. At all. We also have the Gadget Mobile, voiced by D.L. Hughley. And we get a scene that actually kind of feels like Inspector Gadget mixed with Get Smart, which is both Don Adams, by the way, wherein two criminals, one played by Jack McGee, are trying to rob this car, and Gadget thinks they've lost their keys. That is very much in the spirit of the cartoon, you know? But, yeah, you know, but then they're saved. I mean, they're stopped. Saved. They're stopped by the Gadget car. And, okay, so I'm watching this scene. As a kid, you don't think of this. But, like, they shoot it from a certain point of view. Jack McGee's character is running. And, is it Jack McGee? One of the guys is running. And he runs, well, it looks like into some bushes, but he ends up in the Gadget Mobile and locked away. Now, the camera view is from underneath, so it looks like the bushes. But that's not the point of view that the criminal is going to see when running. He'll still see the car. He's not just going to see the bushes. Because from his point of view, he's still standing above where he can see the car. The top of the car is not covered with the bushes. I saw this and I'm like, that's a good visual gag. And then the camera pans up and I went, no. The criminal would see the top of the car. It's not, you don't have it cut. That doesn't work. Doesn't make sense. Though a car that dispenses candy is pretty cool. I'm just saying. Anyway, now that he's being framed, and for some reason now, I want to call it Peggy so bad it's not Peggy. Brenda is not working for Solex. For some reason, I don't know, there's a line at the dinner party where he asks her to go work for her. And Gadget tells her not to, but she does anyway. At no point does he say, no, don't work for him. He might have been the one that killed your father because I chased him away from your building the night your father was murdered. Why doesn't he say this? He has his memories. These are things I think you gotta stop doing that. I don't know. Excuse me. My medicine. Blue raspberry. No alcohol. Not alcoholic. It's just it's one of these things. Yeah. So, after figuring out that something is screwy, Brenda decides to go talk to Skolak in his office. And then we find out that Skolak's made a fuckbot. That's him. He made a Robo Brenda, who's like her, but dumber, so she'll do whatever he wants. Fuckbot. And as a kid, you don't understand why he made that, but now as an adult, hello? He made a robot of the very gorgeous woman he has a thing for. What do you think he's gonna do with it? And she's one of the most annoying things in this movie, Robo Brenda. There's also I'm not gonna wait till that. There's a mid-credit scene where she's doing aerobics. I don't know why that thing's so operational. I don't know. Well, the real Gadget is chasing down. He chases down. He has scaled this building and he's going through the building. But he is captured by Skolax and Andy Dick. And they take the chip out, which kills him. The girls then search around to find him and find him at the dump. Now, to be fair, this is something I didn't like when I was younger because it made no sense then and it makes even less sense now with common sense in my head. So they find him dead because the chip is no longer in him. But he comes back to life because he's John Brown and he has heart. Fucking heart! I'm sorry, that's not how machines work. She even says earlier, without the chip, he will not be able to survive. But Love Ex Machina, I guess. It's never made sense to me, but you just say, it's a kid's movie, move on. You're a kid, you don't ask questions, but now as an adult, these are the things that I think of at night when I... Okay, why is he still alive when the chip wouldn't... No. So they chase Skolax in the Gadget mobile. They drop Penny off at home. Of course, she doesn't stay there. Also, Nostalgia Critic complains because Penny's not blonde here. Michelle Trachtenberg was a blonde. At some point. She was not pink, she was blonde. At some point, she dyed her hair. I don't know. But she was blonde. Anyway. By the time she passed, she had dark hair. Anyway. So, Gadget gives chase in the Gadget mobile with Brenda. Gadget jumps off the Gadget mobile into Skolax's limo and fights Robo Gadget. Their fight leads them on the top of a building somewhere while Brenda chases after. That's what Brenda and Gadget mix together. Bridget. Brenda chases Skolax. And she is captured. Because, of course, 90s equals woman in peril. Gadget disposes of Robo Gadget. And Penny boards a bus and finds the Gadget mobile covered in Skittles. I did like this line. He knocked the Skittles out of me. I did like that line. So she and Brain give chase. Brain, I don't know. So, to be fair, during the climax, I was on the toilet. So I'm going to have to refer the Wikipedia article. I remember something about a helicopter, right? Right. Brenda crashes the Gadget mobile into Skrulex's limo but is taken prisoner. I got that far. Skrullex tries to escape in the helicopter, but Gadget, don't call him John, Gadget appears, or John appears, and go Gadget helicopter hat, because now it's time for the shit to work, because it's no time for goofy shit. Wait, he has landing skis, but he broke his skis earlier. Did they just replenish themselves? Because while he is on the bumper of Skrulex's limousine, he says, go Gadget skis instead of skates, like would make sense. Oh, visualize your goal. Yeah, the part where he visualized the balls and he takes... No, but... Yeah, that guy. Yeah. He uses that here. What is metal ink chamber? You can't just put it in the thing and expect me to know what it is. Launches the metal ink chamber, sending it bouncing around until it hits a button. What is a metal ink chamber? Button on Skrulex's claw, causing it to clamp shut and break the joystick of the helicopter. Brenda jumps out of the helicopter onto Gadget's back and they fall down the side of Skrulex's skyscraper. He's saying umbrella. It says parasol. Umbrella! Claw parachutes down, lands in the Gadget mobile and is immediately arrested. The cops arrive to arrest Gadget, and the only thing that comes from the evil Gadget, but they, you think like in My Favorite Martian to be chasing the whole movie. No, this is just it. But Penny shows up with Sykes, who is now repentant, and confesses the crimes of Skrullex, what happened. So now Quimby likes him, he salutes him, and he's now a member of the police force, and Skrullex goes to jail, directly to jail, do not collect gold. Do not pass gold, do not collect $200. You're going to jail, you and the claw you rode in on. And, yes, so now Gadget is happy with Brenda, though she does not return in the sequel. And Benny and Skrullex vows revenge and taken away by the cops. The film ends with them beginning a relationship. The Gadget reveal driving after a red car because, they thought the shtick with the suit was funny in My Favorite Martian, which it was. Here, not so much. And the movie ends with, you can call me when you want me. If you need a friend, you got me. I'll be your everything. Fulfill your every dream. He can do it automatic. I just call out go Gadget, cause it's a Disney version. So we can't say nothing sexual. Yeah, listen to the original version. I can freak you with my Gadget. And I bullshit you not. We gotta Disneyify it. Now, before I get into my rating, I gotta touch on the sequel a little bit. As I mentioned, they replace Matthew Broderick with French Stewart, which is better casting. But then they decided, hey, let's actually make this more like the cartoon. And so they recast everyone. Brenda is gone, except for they recast everyone except for the Gadget mobile, which is still D.L. Hughley, which is the only thing left from this movie. There's no Brenda. Gadget and Claw are not referred to their real names, John Brown and Sanford Skrullex, at all, although at one point you do see a Skrullex Industries logo somewhere with Claw. Claw's face is also never seen like the cartoon. And from what I remember, French Stewart was better in the role. French Stewart can play Goofy, and he can play Goofy more than Broderick. You can act. And if, with all this, let's make it like the cartoon. They went, let's introduce a female Gadget, which was not from the cartoon, and it also makes no sense to this movie when they say that the biggest problem with their robots was that it needed a human element, and they made this one completely robotic. Way to keep continuity, movie. But yes, and that was also received better because it was more like the cartoon, and you had someone who could actually, emote. It's my French Stewart right there. Dick. But as for this one, I'll give it a middle of the road. It's not quite not worth your time. It's still a fun watch. Show it to your kids. They'll have fun with it. I don't know. It didn't sit well with me this time, and I'm probably going to get my neck ringed out by Big LT, but I don't care. It didn't sit with me well this time. I'm just saying. I noticed a lot of things. Yes, we have one review left, and it's time for me to finally face down something I've been avoiding for many, many years, not only with this, but also in my real life. It's time for me to finally take down an animated film that I have evaded like the plague, but it's finally time for me to take it down. What, you think I'm going to tell you? No, you have to wait till tomorrow. So what are your thoughts on Inspector Gadget? Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.